thing I'd like to mention here is, starting the show, you can contact the station on by either text or WhatsApp us on 07745278978, or you could give us a ring on the studio telephone on 01733 602 133. I repeat that again, 01733 602 133. Why I mention this is because I've got many listeners who come after the show to myself who listened to the show and said, I wanted to ask a question, but I thought, is that the right question or not? The only way to find out is give us a question, we'll ask, and you be the judge if it's the right question or not.
You're so right there, Haseeb. The amount of contact communication that we get after the show, it's very humbling, to be honest with you. It's really, really lovely. So I would really endorse, once again, just exactly what Haseeb was just saying there. Please do connect with us, do talk to us, because we actually want you to be live on air to assist us to get the best for everybody else as well. So
we do indeed. And you might have a question there that you want answered, and please feel free to call in, or if you don't want to call in, please text or WhatsApp us on 07745 278 978.
So this evening, boy, have we got a treat for you on the Empower Hour. Now, this evening, not only is this gentleman that we're bringing in a personal friend, well, I think that's an understatement, actually. I think he's actually he's my brother. And he's not my blood brother, but he is my brother. Just the reason why I mention that very, very specifically is because in Peterborough, where my hometown is, everybody knows my brother. So there's no point me saying that.
You're not going to go with that, no?
No, so it's not going to work like that. So here's the coin. His name is Jatinder Palihar. Now, Jatinder is so well known within the digital hemisphere of business, digital rapport, success methodology. He's also a co-founder of the Seek in Entrepreneurs Online, which is a global platform with myself as well. But tonight and this evening, it's going to be an amazing, amazing interview. We will be covering the key secrets that individuals have a problem with, for example, within their business, because I'm sure, Haseeb, you would much agree that we actually have a situation where people just put things out on social media expecting it to work.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Or even just putting it out on email and sending it out and saying, oh my goodness, I sent 3 emails last week. How comes nobody came back to help, or nobody asked for my business? So this is all about influence, but it's also about the strategic elements of business as well. I'm talking online. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Jatinder Palihar, who is the co-founder of the Seek Entrepreneurs and also the founder and director of Digital Rapport, Success Methods, to name a few, and also BigFanta.com, which is his actual website development organization. Now, he has been in this industry for over 10 years and 15 years if you count all of his work that he did with Sun Microsystems many years ago when he was after his studying as a BSc. So this evening he's going to share some pearls of wisdom which go into the context of how to deliver social media and actually how to use internet and email marketing to support and actually grow your business. So without further ado, is it okay, Haseeb? We'll bring our chief guest in today. Jatinder!
Hello, Suki. Hello, everyone at Salam.
Thank you. So
Hi,
welcome.
Jatinder.
Welcome.
How are you doing?
Very well. How about yourself, Jatinder? Are you well?
I'm well, thank you.
Good. So you're calling in all the way from London.
That's right.
Thank you for giving us the time this evening. Now we have just to pre-frame for everybody here. We have one break at around 13 minutes past 7, and then we'll be back online. There'll be some prayers, and we'll be back online at 17 minutes past 7, and through to our normal scheduled time of 26 minutes past 7. So for the first period of time, just be aware that we may pull your conversation, Jatinder. It's not because we don't want to listen to you. I'll tell you that now.
Sure.
So, Jatinder, just a little bit about yourself, if I may ask. How have you found it cutting, let's say, for example, cutting a niche in this current climate when it comes to business and launching platforms? Because you're a multiple launcher of many, many companies from your client base. So, how have you found it? Do you find any regular challenges that you find when individuals expect you to do things for websites and stuff, and really they expect it just to work like a turnkey?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question about niches. I mean, we're going through a very interesting time at this moment because of emerging technologies and the kind of disruptions it's causing. all over the internet, all over jobs and things like that. And what we're seeing is what we call micro niches, or even the kind of rise of the experts, in a particular field, who specialize in one particular thing and are getting to know about that. And because of the ability to pretty much work with anyone, anywhere in the world, that space in finding an expert in a particular field is so much easier, because you can just jump on a Skype call, for example, and get support from all around the world. And so what we're seeing is this emergence of different people from different industries getting together, but working together and working like traditionally you have the corporate where you go to the workspace, you work in your business, but what we're seeing now is almost like individuals working together, coming together.
So collaborations as a whole. So in
right.
essence, merger of many industries. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
Now, we've regularly spoken about this, Haseeb, as well. We talk about how collaborations truly work. I mean, there are such a thing as joint ventures, but there are also strategic partnerships.
Absolutely.
And there's a distinct difference between them. A joint venture is something that is what we call beneficial to both parties involved in the joint venture. So it could be a business deal where we could take Haseeb as an accountant and myself who's a property developer and investor, and we could say what we'll do is we'll support each other.
Yep.
So that may become like a new product. But a strategic partnership, just to share, and I know you're very, very aware of this, Jatinder, as well, a strategic partnership is when two forces get together, which is what you're talking about, two large organization companies that complement each other, that not necessarily to create a new product, but actually to complement each other with reference of their portfolio of products. Is that right?
That's right. I mean, it's so much easier now to, focus on your core skill and then bring in people to help you with parts of the business that might be missing. There's so much skill out there, so much people you can contact, and that collaborative kind of space it's just phenomenal. It's just such a really interesting place to be.
Now, that's something that we are definitely going to touch on very, very shortly. So the question I'm going to ask yourself is, if it's okay, because the audience today, they don't know how much of a treat they're in for, really. But above all, Jatinder, the audience always comes first. And that is the key focus for Salam Radio and our Empower Hour here in Peterborough. So what I'd like you to do, if I can just ask a little bit of question about your background. I mean, could you just tell us a little bit about your journey of how you've become the go-to expert in this industry?
Yeah, sure, Taki. I think, like at this moment in time, I basically help small businesses or entrepreneurs, or what we call experts, leverage their skills and knowledge to become the go-to authority in their respective niche. Mm-hmm. And I've managed to focus on that particular niche, but it wasn't always like that. My kind of beginnings started. I've always had an interest in IT, in computing. I remember my first BBC computer that my dad bought for me.
Oh my goodness, the BBC computer! I think I even learnt dot matrix, the dot matrix language as well, and it was just like, wow, this is going to be cutting edge.
Absolutely. So I've had this interest towards IT from a very young age. From BBC, then we had the kind of big desktop ages that we went through. And I've always just maintained that focus in staying in some sort of IT-related businesses. And then what happened was when I went to uni, I didn't really want to do anything like computer science because I found that too one-sided. But I also wanted to do something in business. So what I ended up doing was bridging it and actually doing information technology, which was kind of half business and half IT related.
Now that's very specific. I just want to share that with the audience here. Information technology is not the same as your IT technology business within itself. As Jatinder said, it's about half of each other's, but more business focused, right?
That's right. Because you have one side that deals with actual code and the computer side of stuff, whereas the other side of it deals with processes and business processes and what actually goes on in the business, and then how you can actually map out customer journey, for example. And then, pass it on to someone who can code it up or put it together. Mm-hmm. So I went into Brunel University, did my BSc Information Systems there, and during my time there, I did a year with the industry with TET.
Tetley. Wow.
TET, yeah. So I was fortunate to work with them, and I think they were at the time something like the second biggest tea company or something. And I worked with them, worked on multiple country websites. Then I went back to uni to finish off my degree, and actually did my dissertation in something called emotional intelligence. And at the time, it was known as EQ, and I thought it was something to do with artificial intelligence, right? So I was kind of drawn to that. But when I actually did my dissertation on emotional intelligence, I realized that emotional intelligence is basically the ability to monitor your own and other people's feelings and emotions, and then being able to use those feelings and emotions to pursue and attain goals. The idea was that how do you basically take a person's personality traits to some degree and then figure out whether they're right for the business or the job you're going to be doing. And that was my kind of initial exposure to the whole kind of personal development side of business, and the kind of seeds that would lead me to working in this industry. So then after that, I went back to TET for a little while, and while I was there, I managed to get into Sun Microsystems, which was a Fortune 500 company at the time. And so, worked in corporate there. I loved that as well. They're a fantastic business. Alongside of that, I was building my own business as well, which was BigFanta.com, and that is going to be 13 years this year.
Woohoo!
And yeah,
Fantastic.
So there's a whole kind of range of things that I've done, which has led me to where I am today.
So that, just in case everybody's thinking, can I start my first business, or can I even do multiple things at the same time? Here's evidence that you can. You can be the best at whatever you want to be in life. The Empower Hour. You get involved, take a clear vision, and move forward. So that's an amazing context. So there's some people who are communicating with us on various texts, etc. So just for everybody else, again, WhatsApp, if you want to tune in and ask a live question to Jatinder, is 07745 278 978. So we're looking forward to answering more questions. So going back to that conversation around emotional intelligence, please, Jatinder, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to go back into that conversation. We've got about a minute left before we talk about it, so it's just a very quick touch, if it's okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome back, and thank you very much for accepting that we had to stop for a little prayer. That was very, very, very important at that particular time. Haseeb, we're back online.
We are indeed. And today our guest has got some fantastic, golden nuggets to give away. And he started very well with what he was doing, the journey that he's gone through. And Jatinder, are you there?
I am, yes. Yep.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Brilliant. So welcome back to the Empower Hour. So we've actually got a really interesting question. It's more of a statement, actually. Faisal's just texted in and said something really, really powerful. I think it's relevant for us all just to share. That he started up it says over here, we started up computer science as a programmer, but ended up in the software company. So I'm sure, and very much complimented. Very good show, guys, and we find it really interesting. So thank you very much, Faisal, for the feedback as well. Yes. So Jatinder, going back into that conversation where we just left it for a moment, we are actually, just to remind everybody, at 7:26 we will be stopping again for a 4-minute break, and then when we come back back online at 7:30, we will be finishing with some amazing real strategic nuggets that you can actually take away and add into your business straight away, so you can actually get action at the end of today's session and show. Is that right, Haseeb?
Yes, absolutely spot on there. You hit the nail on the head there. It's
perfect. Okay. Brilliant. Okay, so Jatinder, before we broke up for the last break there, we were speaking about emotional intelligence, and then also how you've actually realized that it integrates into business as well, because we're all humans, right?
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, so how did you integrate emotional intelligence into your IT career?
So when I first came across emotional intelligence, I was kind of mind blown, because it was my first kind of insight into how the human brain works, about different hemispheres and how the left side activates and how the right side activates. And I was so fascinated by it. So when I did my dissertation, I ended up making like a psychometric test, which was designed, it was multiple choice questions. And if you answer the questions honestly, you will get like an emotional intelligence score at the end of it, which would then kind of give you an insight as to how you would or could behave in the workspace. And what I found fascinating about that was that it's like the thing about a psychometric test is that if you're taking it in a certain space, unless you're thinking about what could happen, and that's why if you answer the question honestly, you get honest response. But if you think about what you might do instead of what you actually would do, the results would be quite varied.
That reminds me, sorry to interject there, but it reminds me of a really, really amazing quotation by Dr. Bahn, way back in 1981 from Germany. And he was classified with an accolade of knowing, if anybody, by Einstein said, if anybody understands and truly understands quantum physics, then it'd be Dr. Bahn. And Dr. Bahn responded, and you used the word thinking, so I'm going to share his exact quote with yourself and with the viewers tonight. He said that the more I think I understand, the further away I truly am. So the principal understanding is the more he brings his head into the context, he already has affected the quantum science and the physical element of the atoms. So that was just to underline and help you a little bit with that conversation. I hope everybody understands and resonates with that as well.
No, absolutely, Suki, because it's like one of those things, because you would have a thinking about how you would do something, but then when something actually happens, is how do you actually behave in that situation?
Got it.
And that's the most interesting part. So what ended up happening was that I found a new passion through this, right? Through emotional intelligence, learning about personal development, and I got so into it. I started studying NLP, hypnosis. Did Tony Robbins events. I did all sorts of Richard Bandler, Paul McKenna. I started really understanding how the brain works, and I got to a stage where I thought, well, okay, I'm doing this, but what am I trying to do with my life? Where am I going? Do I want to become a coach, or do I, I've done an IT degree, or what am I doing? And then I was actually at an event by a lady called Janet Schwitzer, who was sharing her knowledge about how. I think a program was called something like How Experts Build Empires or something. And she was sharing about coaches and how they can actually create a business through their knowledge. And as I was there, sitting there, I thought, that's it, I got it, I understand. I want to basically combine the two passions. I want to combine my personal development passion with my IT business and try my best to become the go-to person and bridge those industries together so that I can provide IT services to the personal development industry. So I've ended up bridging two concepts together.
And boy, have you become the go-to person, by the way. Yes.
Yeah, to find that niche that really helped me target who I was after and who I can work with. And it just helped me hone in all my skills and actually work in alignment with my passion and a service that I can actually deliver to the industry.
Wow, amazing. So
you've done a fantastic job, Jacinda. Jacinda, you're a person of many skills. You're also an author. Am I correct? Right. You've written quite a few books. First of all, what made you write them books? Also, if you mention the topics, what they were, and what inspired you to write them books?
Yeah, sure. One of the funny things is, I don't know if you've heard, they say that sometimes your greatest weakness can be your greatest skill.
Oh, yeah.
And it was funny because when I used to be at school, I was I was a very practical kind of person. I wanted to just get on with things. And but through schooling, you have to learn how to spell and do all these things. And I suppose the learning method didn't really fit the way my brain was kind of wired. So I was quite rebellious, and the biggest complaint that my parents used to get through school was that his spellings are really bad. He's not learning to do all these kind of things.
And I'm sure there's been many of our listeners and myself possibly even included into that camp.
And so to some degree that was like a driver saying, well, you can't define me by saying that he's not learning these things, so he's not good at it or whatnot. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to write a book.
Wow, fantastic!
I'm
took the challenge.
Yeah. Talk about Empower Hour. I'm going to use that to my own benefit here, Hasib, and I'm sure the viewers this evening and listeners this evening are really truly getting a bit of a kick. They're saying, yes, you can.
That's right. So it was like kind of drive, on one side it was like, yeah, I show you teachers. But then many years later, many years later, I actually thank those teachers because, for them pushing them the way they did actually helped me find something that I like. So I had the opportunity to kind of co-author on my first book that was multiple streams of inspiration. And we had about 23 different authors from around the world who contributed a chapter.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my first time. And that book was written about kind of mindset, about the way our brain thinks. And so there's a chapter around that. And that's when it kind of started. That's how
we're just going to, in about another minute's time, just to let you know, in case the viewer's thinking and hearing again, we're going to be stopping for another commercial break, and then we'll rejoin at 7:30 sharp. So, Jitendra, just a question, just quickly to yourself. To become an author, I'd like to talk about it just after the break in a moment, but to become an author is no small feat. And I think at the end of the day, the reality of life is that you said something really, really powerful and very passionate there, where you actually thanked your teachers. Now, I'm sure there's many students here, maybe many children here, who probably have a vision that the teacher's hard on them or some kind. But the reality is that kind of compression can create greatness within somebody. And the most important part is the humility that you just shared there, Jitendra, and Hasib is nodding his head as well.
I agree. I agree.
So children and other viewers and listeners, please do not take that as a bad thing. Okay, so we're going to have a little break now, and so we'll come back very shortly. Please ensure you come back on time, because we're going to cover some strategies that you can use in your business today. Thank you.
106.2 FM. Today we got our guest. I think just before the show, Jitendra was telling us a bit about his book. Hi there, Jitendra. Are you still there with us?
I am, yes.
Yes, just before we went on the commercial break, we were talking about your book. You wrote your books on there, and the first book was about inspiration. What did them books do for yourself? Writing them books.
What did the books do for me? Did you say?
Yep.
Yeah, within business,
yeah.
for example, did it help you? I mean, was it valuable to have a book in business?
What experience did you gain from writing the books?
Yeah, sure. I mean, one originally it was it was just a dream. It was just something I wanted to do. Have some authorship out there. But then when I did that, and what I realized was that it's actually having a book is the ultimate business card. Because what happens is, as soon as you show someone that you got a book or you're in a book, the whole perception about who you are, what you are all about changes. And there's been many, many times when I've had conversations with kind of, you can say, tough personalities who, sometimes from a maybe arrogant approach, or sometimes because they just don't know who you are. They're trying to like talk to you in a way where they're thinking they know more than you.
In a condescending sort of way.
In those kind of situations, sometimes you say, "Oh yeah, that's cool. I appreciate that. Here's a copy of my book. Here's a chapter. If you got any questions, let me know." And as soon as they see that copy of the book, the whole perception just changes. And that's what made me realize that having a book actually positions you as some sort of an authority or an expert in your industry. And
it does indeed, yeah.
That's what I say to my clients as well, saying that, look, if you want to be seen as the go-to person in the industry, having a book is the ultimate business card.
Also, when you started writing the book, what were the negative things that went to your mind? I'm gonna write this book. What do I gain out of this? What this information right here, is it useful? Is it not useful? Like a diagram. You had some thoughts to yourself on there. You had some points. What sort of scenario, just a process system did you go through before writing the book?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the fortunate thing is my first book, the kind of current books I've worked on, they're what we call co-authored books. So it means that you're not the only author in the book. So you got someone who's guiding you to say, this is what the book is about, this is what your chapter needs to cover. So working on like one chapter at a time is quite straightforward, because you know what kind of topic you want to talk about, what the book or the concept is about. But at the moment, I'm working on like a full. I've actually got 2 or 3 books in the pipeline at the moment, and working on the full kind of concept. But the whole experience makes you go deep within inside yourself and wonder that question does come arise. It's like, is anybody going to actually listen to what I have to say? And the way I overcame that was when I said to myself that, you know what, I'm not going out there to show off in any way. If I'm going to put content out there, I want it to contribute to people's lives. I want it to add value. I want them to get something out of it. Otherwise, what's the point, right?
Yes, truly.
So the way you have to think about it is that what do I know that other people don't know and can find useful? And I think that's the best starting point, because you could know a whole bunch of things on things, and the reality is, because you're so in it, you don't necessarily know how valuable that content is until you share it with someone who's got no idea about it, and they're just mind blown, and you think, wow, I actually have got something I can serve people with.
I can truly advise and confirm that to be true, because I think you know yourself that whenever we share from stage, it's not always seen as valuable in your own mind until you physically share it with somebody, and then they go, oh my God, that's shifted me. And especially when you talk about content and when you're writing it, what a great question, Haseeb. Very, very well answered by yourself, Jatinder. Just actually getting over those little moments when you're thinking, am I actually doing the right job? Is it really working? And more importantly, is anything I've got to say worth listening to? So this is the key pediment. So absolute gems, and I'm sure the audience listening tonight is agreeing that it's an absolute gem to understand how you can push yourself further forward in life. And a really key point there was a moment you said a moment ago, is that it's the ultimate business card. You know, a book truly is the ultimate business card. So if you haven't written, and I'm sharing some live information which is not really known to many people, Jatinder and myself have written a book together, and it's called The Hidden Secrets of Body Language, but we haven't yet launched that book either. So it's a very much a necessity. Is that correct?
That's right. It's the pipeline is going to be quite exciting.
Yes, it sure is. It sure is. Okay, now emotional intelligence. Now I'm going to take a little bit of a leap sideways, if you don't mind. We're talking about emotional intelligence, but emotional intelligence is basically the human psychology on the inside, not necessarily the outgoing part of the brain. It is the calibration of both. It's about understanding and influencing with integrity. Now, the question that we were talking about earlier on, I'm privy to some information or stuff that's actually coming out in the marketplace from yourself, and I am very, very sorry, Jatinder, because I'm afraid our audience always comes first, and I'm sure you agree. I'm going to put you a little bit on the spot, if you don't mind, and this is the on-the-spot moment for every single week when we speak to our guests. A little birdie told me that somebody called Jatinder Palihar is actually writing a whole philosophy called a digital SIMAC. That's SIMAC. I'm sorry, you're going to have to share that with us. It's going to have to be live, and I'm afraid I have to know what's going into this masterminding product.
Yeah. Okay, so the digital SIMAC method is probably my knowledge over the last, since I've been out of uni in this space, of what it needs to be in place and what needs to be done in order to have a successful business online. And it's not necessarily like all the things that you hear in it are not necessarily like unique that they already exist, but what's unique about it is the steps in which you do this and the kind of pathway or the roadmap you use in order to
achieve the end goal
in a particular order, which will get you the best results. Because
now, just to pause you there a second, in case the audience is thinking, the reality is that a lot of information that experts and specialists actually share, it's already inside of you. But the true expert, the true person who's actually honestly trying to help somebody, their job is actually to ignite that knowledge within yourself, exactly what you just said there, Jatinder, and put it into an order that is actually going to be working for you. The difference between trial and error, and the difference between actually having experience in doing the work properly. So thank you for bringing that point to the Empower Hour. Remember, everybody, please do ask questions. Do WhatsApp in on 07745 278 978. If you text us, we will share your name if you would like us to, live on air. Back to you, Jatinder, please. The SIMAC method.
Yeah, so the basis of the SIMAC method is kind of built on 5 pillars, which looks at the overall kind of long-term strategy, but then goes into each step as well. So so you get the kind of initial steps and the bigger vision. And what SIMAC method actually stands for is the S is for strategy, the I is for implementation, the M is for marketing, the A is for assessing, and then the C is for calibrating. And if you look at a business, if it's done in that particular order, from my kind of experience of learning, you know, if you want to go into business, whether it's new or old, you have to have some sort of plan or strategy. as to what you're trying to do, where you want to go. And if you, I'll go into some of these steps a little bit further, a little bit later, but the strategy side of it basically covers kind of like the foundation, the base layer of what your business is about. When you've mapped out your strategy,
let's do that now. Let's go through each one of them. Why not?
Why not?
Because we're gonna hold you to that word. So strategy. What would somebody do within the strategy section of the CIMAC method?
Yeah, sure. So another element of what I've come to learn is that it's not just about the online business. It's also about offline activities. So combining the CIMAC method, there's basically 12 steps in total, and in the strategy phase, there's 4 steps as well. And the strategy side of it, the first step is to look at the problem. What is the problem you're solving? And then to find out who your target audience is, look at their needs, their problems, their issues, and then and then the second part of that would be, what's your solution? What is your signature system? What is your offering to the world? How are you helping to solve that problem? Those are 2 key elements that fall in the strategy stage. The next side of that would be the actual business itself. What's your vision, mission, purpose? What's your running a SWOT analysis? That gives you that side of it. And then
So just for the audience, if I can, we mentioned SWOT analysis. I am very, very certain that they're all healed enough to understand what that means. But for the children who may be listening tonight, SWOT analysis, could you just clarify what that means?
Yes, so SWOT analysis looks at 4 things. It looks at your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats in the business.
Brilliant.
So that would be things like, what if you're an author, for example, or if you're a coach or a mentor, what are your strengths? Your strengths might be you've got an award, you've got a book, you've got a degree in something. These are all your strengths. And then you look at your weaknesses, what things you might be missing, what you could build or create. You look at the threats, like maybe the different in industries or cross industries or something, and then you look at the opportunities, where there's a gap, or where can you position yourself, for example.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That really helps. Thank you very much. Back to your 4th step of the strategy section.
So what I'll do, I'll do it in the actual order. The way we look at it is the online order, and then we look at the offline, because the offline stuff is something that ideally is separate to the online kind of phase. So there's 9 online steps, and then the 3 are kind of offline steps, right? So in strategy, you've got the problem, the solution, the business. Once those are kind of worked out, then you go into the implementation stage. The implementation stage is actually building out your business. So you look at your brand, right? What your colors and your design and the emotion it ignites and all that kind of stuff. The bit after the brand is then your funnel, is your sales funnel. And the bit after that is basically your website. So these are the kind of 3 implementation phases online, which I looked at.
Could we hold a little bit on that? Because that's actually quite a technical area. And could we just evolve a little bit if it's possible? Because once again, the viewers and the listeners do come first, and we want to ensure that, as we promised, you will have an actual actionable steps and learning at the end of this session. So if it's possible, just to cover those last 2 points once again.
So the funnel and the website?
That's right. So for example, let me give you an example. Let me pose it slightly differently, if I may. We regularly have had this discussion offline, and most individuals, once they are starting their business, they try to, they start by designing the website and making it perfect. And then when the website's up online, they don't necessarily get the traction or the drive or actually the conversion ratio. People don't necessarily find their shop, as we could put it. I mean, it's the same as opening up a shop in town centre and just expecting people to walk in. It doesn't quite happen that way, does it? So the funneling element of the business, which is, I'd like you to touch a little bit more on the funnels, because the funnel is the process that a customer goes through to engage and, most importantly, understand and actually share and buy. Share the money element with yourself and buy. So please do walk us through that so that everybody can apply this into their business.
So just to add on to the whole website thing, that the website, there's a massive myth around websites, because people think that as soon as they got a website, that's it, it's all over. They're going to be successful online. And the reality is it's not. It's just a place where people can go and find out a bit more about you. The bit that is really powerful is actually your sales funnel. and you can have multiple funnels, or you can have one main key funnel. And basically, what a funnel is I suppose you can look at it that a website is more of a traditional approach, whereas a funnel is more of a kind of a modern approach to how things work. So say you're a business mentor like yourself, and you know, and you want to, or if you got an idea or something, you want to test the market as well. Then what you can do is, if you find the problem that you're trying to solve. So, for example, for a mentor, it might be that someone new to business, they got no idea how to get into business. So what could be produced, for example, is a checklist. It could be like the 12 things you need in order to start up a business. And it could be an ebook, it could be a video, it could be an audio file. And the whole point of a sales funnel is that it's literally just a simple page that has nothing else on there apart from your offer. And it could be something like that says, watch this video or get this. All you got to do is give us your name and email address, and we'll give you this in exchange.
So this is kind of
psychology behind that.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a sales page, a landing page, or otherwise known as a squeeze page. Is that right? So is that the same thing?
That's right.
And the psychology you were saying behind it?
Yeah, so the psychology behind it is that, you know, on a traditional website, you got the menu structure at the top, you got all this stuff going on. When somebody goes to a website, they can easily get distracted.
Mm-hmm.
The point of a sales funnel is to keep them focused. You know, when people land on your sales funnel, they've only got two options. They're either going to engage with you, they're going to buy from you, or they're going to disappear. If they're going to disappear, then they're probably not your target audience. If they actually engage with you, then they're probably someone that needs what you have to offer. So you filter out a lot of your traffic, you could say, or you can get it very targeted. Because someone who's interested in setting up a business and they want to know the first initial steps to get a business done would be interested in a checklist that tells them 12 steps to get your business off the ground, for example, right? So the whole point of the funnel is that it's something you can use to test an industry, you test your market, test your idea. It's something that can be used to highly target and engage and convert just general traffic into sales using kind of single approach where you just send people just to that page as opposed to sending them to a website where they can get distracted.
Got it. So yeah, do jump in as well, Haseeb, if you have any questions on that.
No, that's fine.
Okay,
It's explaining it very well.
Thank you. So now basically the modern website, or what really creates the traction and conversion for everybody just to hear, I'm just repeating what Jatinder's been saying, is actually the funnel. It's about the sequencing. It's about bringing people into the steps of rapport and connection. And I know digital rapport is where you are an expert within the field. So yes,
That's right.
back to yourself, and we'll talk a bit more about implementation and then a little bit about your next 3 steps as well.
Yeah, so after the funnel, then you look at your website. So your website is your online platform, your brochure website. It's for those people who want to know more about you or learn more about you, and it gives you that initial presence. So it's not that you don't need a website, but it is. But if you look at it, in this 12-step thing, the website is actually step 6. It means it's the 6th thing you should look at.
Wow, so that's so people, I'm regularly finding people actually regularly just completely affixed and focused on creating a website. And here is a web developer, Haseeb, and who's actually saying, actually, it's the 6th element. There's 5 steps before this. Wow, it's amazing.
Right.
Thank you for being so open and honest. Sorry?
If you don't know your target audience, if you don't know your target audience, then you've got no solution for them. If you've got no solution for them, you've got no business. If you've got no business, you've got no brand. If you've got no brand, you've got no funnel. And if you've got no funnel, you've got no website. That's the way I look at it. The website is you know, all these steps build up on each other. So that's the implementation phase. The next step after that, once the kind of system's in place, then you look at the marketing. Then you look at, for example, the next 3 steps are the content, the traffic, and then the tracking. So the content would be then your blogs, your video, your articles you write, your audio, your podcast, anything that you can create would be the content that you put on the website to then drive traffic to your website or your funnel. Ideally, your funnel is where you want to try them, yeah? And then in the traffic element, there's 2 sections. There's paid traffic and there's free traffic. If you want fast results, then paid traffic is the way to go forward, but then obviously there's cost involved. If you do free kind of marketing and stuff, then it's a longer churn. It takes longer to get the results from there. And then obviously the next step is the tracking, and the tracking is about track everything that you do. If you're going to put social media marketing out there, then are you tracking that? And if you are putting social media traffic out, why are you doing it? Where are you sending people? Are they actually benefiting from? Are they getting an ROI off their social media or their SEO? And that's where the tracking side of it comes in. And those 9 steps are what we focus on the online element of it.
Amazing.
Once those are all in place, then you can look at kind of like the offline element. And the offline element in the strategy phase is all about networking. So when you go to networking events, you connect with people and you can send them to your sales funnel. You can, physically meet people. Because people forget, it's all about people. If you can't connect with people, forget it. There's no point doing anything.
Back to your first point of emotional intelligence, is that right?
Exactly that.
That's right. So when you connect, just so that everybody can get it clear, just to be very, very clear, because you're giving some amazing content, and I hope the audience is really, really enriched by this knowledge. It can be quite hard to understand to start off with, but the way Jatinder is actually explaining it is making it such an easy, simple understanding. So just to clarify something a little bit further, that every time you mention the word SEO, it is classified as search engine optimization, and every time you speak about ROI, it is a return on investment. So it's the money you put into it. So just to clarify, and then when you use the word funnel, what we're really trying to do is we have a funnel, but directing the traffic from what you said a moment ago to a sales page, in essence. Yes, which is the future of modeling.
Just to add on the funnel side, I mean, if you imagine an actual funnel, it's wide at the top and it goes narrow as it goes down. If you visualize that, if you imagine that, what you want to do is you want to stuff that funnel with traffic. So you put loads of traffic into it, and what happens? It filters through as it narrows down the funnel. There's like levels. So the first level could be a free offering. The second level could be a paid product. The third level could be personal coaching and mentoring. It just depends on your industry as to what levels are involved in that funnel. So that's why it becomes very highly targeted.
Wow, brilliant. So this actually could work with, Hasib, your own business, within an accounting business, yes? So offering people tax advice and structure, e-writing and books, and everybody out there should be thinking of something very similar. Even restaurants, for example, they should be thinking about how they can get people involved in actually getting recipes, or actually them talking about their own recipes very well and say where they originate from, etc.
I think Jatinder has made it, the way he's explained it, he's made it very simple. And, using that digital CMAC method is the route that he's gone regarding the strategy, implementation and marketing. He's added onto that how we could do that.
Wow.
Which
is a key point.
It is a key point. It's a brilliant point on there. You made some valid points on there. Also regarding your marketing, when assessing it, how would you do that?
So the assessing side of it is leads off from the tracking side of things. So when you're tracking results, you're assessing what's actually going on in the business. You're looking at what's working, what's not working, what can we tweak. You're using something called data-driven design is what you can use out of that, which basically means you look at analytics, you look at how people are interacting with your site and what you're doing, and then you tweak it and keep making it better until you get better results with what you're doing. And that's all to do with the assessment. So the assessment is looking at what works, or what could be working, or isn't working, and then the calibration is obviously tweaking everything that you do.
Amazing. So that makes a lot of sense. Now, actually, we've got more some activity on the WhatsApp scenario. So just in case you have any of the questions, because this content is really, really powerful. And it's life changing for your business, and most importantly, your bottom line. So please do text in on WhatsApp on 07745 278 978. And if you want to physically speak to Jatinder or any of our future guests, please do call the studio on 01733 602 133 on the Empower Hour Salam Radio. So we have a lovely question again, and it's a bit funny actually, so I'll read it word to word. So where do you start when writing a book? We're going back a little bit in that pre-conversation, but it goes on to say, is there a book that teaches you how to write a book? Laugh out loud.
Absolutely. That's a fantastic question. So you have to go back to the beginning for that one. Just quickly, after the networking phase, we've got two more steps, which is one is live events, and then the last one is media, like radio interviews and TV and PR and things like that. So those are just 2 points. But going back to where the book comes into it, that's actually like a step 2 kind of thing with the solution side of it. So we use a term called signature solution, and a signature solution is, I suppose the way you can look at it is, if you're solving a problem, you're going to help people break it down as to how they solve that problem. And you may end up finding that you might have 3 steps, you might have 5 steps, you might have 7, you might have 12, you might have 20. It depends on what it is. And if you break down each step, a bit like what I've done with these 12 steps, you have then got potentially chapters to a book, right?
Uh-huh.
So if you look at how I'm doing this, my book is the Digital Smack Method is in production at the moment, writing it up. But for example, for me, chapter 1 is the problem, chapter 2 is the solution, chapter 3 is the business. So my signature solution is my methodology, and that is going to become a book, which then say here's a strategy, here's how it works, and then the book is part of the signatures, the whole signature system. So this all ties in very nicely as to what it's all about. So yeah, the book will be basically in the solution stage. It's basically your breakdown of how you're solving a problem. It could be even if you've got a double glazing company, right? You might have how you go out and assess a person's windows. What kind of windows are going to work there? Do they go for PVC or do they go for wooden frame or whatnot? You got steps there that can be converted into a signature solution or even a book and chapters.
So just for the person actually posted on WhatsApp for us, but thank you for that question for a start. So actually creating is very similar to ourselves in the conversation. We are actually running very close to the end. So Jatinder, just before we cut off here, thank you very much for the amazing updates there. But how can anybody get a hold of you and who's your ideal client? Just quickly before we cut off.
So you can get a hold of me through Facebook or my website, which is jatinderpalahar.com. My ideal customer, we work with a lot of startup businesses, existing business or rebranding, but the kind of niche thing that we work with is authors, entrepreneurs, life coaches, thought leaders, and that kind of industry.
So amazing. So now, in the context of this one, thank you very much, Jatinder, for being online. And Brother Hasib over here and myself, Suki Wahiwala, have thoroughly enjoyed, and I hope our audience has absolutely been writing down every one of those gems that's been involved. So thank you very much for tuning in to Salam Radio on our Empower Hour on 106.2 FM. And please enjoy and connect up. Thank you very much.